Please, are we ready? Setting it up. Okay, we can probably go ahead and begin. You want to say here? Just in case the trees comes in, she probably want that.
Oh, she probably will.
Yeah, so why don't you guys, if you want to, your live, James.
Okay.
So she can go up, you want to do it.
All righty,
Front and center.
Good.
so
It's good.
we are live. We're recording to YouTube. We put all of our meetings on YouTube. When our technical capabilities allow it, which is most of the time. This is the July 2026 Old Farm Board monthly meeting. My name is James. I'm the board chair. I'm going to introduce the rest of the board. We have a quorum today. We have a few people online as well. Just like everybody to know that as far as meeting politeness, raise your hands. We do have a presenter coming from one of the developers and engineering firms in town. On that note, we're going to let him do his presentation, and then afterwards we'll do questions. If you do have a question, and we ask you sort of come up and just get closer to this area of the room for microphone purposes so that everybody can hear everything. On that note, would the board please introduce themselves?
I'm Ross Tenty, member of the board. I'm Brian Kennedy.
And I'm Dirk Benson. I'm out of town, just joining via Zoom.
And that's it for our board. We have other board members, but they're not present. On that note, we're just going to go straight into the presentation that we've got today. We have a guest from Matt Baker, Mocker Engineering,
Mocker Development.
Mocker Development. Jamie, please introduce yourself and take it away, and Ross will help you with. Actually, Ross, are we geared up for the presentation, or how are we?
Yeah, give me 30 seconds, but you can go ahead.
Hey, everybody, with Jamie Lewis, I'm the development director for Mocker. We're a development firm based just in downtown Bend. And so tonight, I just want to give you kind of a quick overview of our proposed 42 lot subdivision. And I'm happy to answer any and all questions that come up. All right, go for it, next slide. So I know there's a ton, James and I were just talking about, there's so much going on in this area, and I'm sure you all might be wary of developers and all the development that's coming in, and there's a lot of different kind of forces all in one spot here, but I just want to clarify. So Mocker's development is that red solid square, Cabin Lane Estates. It's 10 acres, like I said, 42 lots proposed. Across the street is the Hayden Homes Magnolia Meadows subdivision. That's a number of smaller lots, townhomes. The Ferguson annexation to the northeast there is also kind of a totally separate development, townhomes. And then Lagore annexation to the south will also be a single family detached subdivision. But all of those are separate developers, and really tonight my focus is to kind of explain and tell you about our proposed development, Cabin Lane Estates in the red there. All right, next slide. So the zoning is residential standard. Minimum lots are the lot minimum size is 2,700 square feet. Our lots range from like 6,000 to 16,000 square feet. So the average lot size is 7,800. I know utilities is a hot topic. I think in the past, there were discussions about sewer coming from the northwest and through another property. Mocker was just part of looking at feasibility for that, and is not at all associated with that project or development. Our sewer is not connecting there. All of our utilities are coming down Cabin Lane. So Magnolia Meadows put in the first phase of water, sewer, storm, and then we're just extending to going down to the south. As we kind of our development phases, we have one phase, but we're just kind of bringing utilities down to what will be their third phase. And so street improvements, Magnolia Meadows they're kind of paving until about the midsection there, and then we're going to connect in with all their utilities, keep pulling them south, and then our paving and kind of all utilities will go all the way where the last lot is there on the bottom. All right, next slide. And then I just brought some different utility drawings and preliminary plats and anything that you guys want to see or talk through. So this is our preliminary plat, has our square footages in tiny print, but yeah, that's kind of all the lots. You can see some are bigger. We got the big corner lot over there, lot 11, and then, you know, there's a number of lots that'll be facing cabin. There's a ton of grade on this site, and just in the area in general. So Magnolia Meadows kind of sits a little bit down, and then this is kind of, there's a big knob and a number of, it's a hilly site. So the plan at this point is for those two roads that come off of cabin to kind of, they're gonna be fairly steep, kind of we're trying to chase existing grade as much as possible. And also save as many trees as possible and not kind of disturb areas that we don't need to. So that kind of, there's a lot of cut right around the road because the road elevation is what it is, and we have to connect into utilities that are already in place. But as much as possible, we're trying to kind of follow the grades of the site.
Can't see well, no, where's Hearthstone in relation to that?
That's, yeah, that's up on the top. You see the top street, just up right corner, Hearthstone.
Okay, all right,
There you go.
all right.
I'm sorry, it's small print, I know. Just wanted to capture the whole site.
Okay, so almost all of this is south of Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, next slide. So this is just kind of gives you a sense of the zoning in the area. As I mentioned, Magnolia Meadows, their site is kind of a higher density zone. And so those lots are smaller. I think a lot of their lots are 2,500 to 3,500 square feet. And then kind of a lot of the lower density, larger lots, more traditional to the area are much more to the north. You can see in that darker yellow.
So once again, the red square is what he's talking about.
Yep, exactly.
And it's all single family homes?
Yes.
Is that single family attached, mixed,
Detached. Yeah.
all detached?
Mhm.
Multi-level accent?
Yep.
All of them?
Yep.
And 2 or 3 story?
There mostly be 2-story. There will be some, we're proposing, I mentioned how the grade kind of is lower down by the street, and we're chasing it up. Some garage under, kind of, those would be garage, and then, I guess those would be 2-story as well, just quite tall. So yeah, they're all 2-story. Next slide. This is just, kind of water connections. As I mentioned, the water line has been built in cabin. We're just kind of running that through the subdivision, and then eventually there's already plans and a submission for the subdivision to the south. And so the water and street would connect through to that subdivision.
When you talk about stuff being, coming to or from or in or down or up from cabin's kind of like 2 pieces. The old existing and then everything that's gonna be new. So is infrastructure coming north from the new part?
Yes.
And is the existing part of cabin in any way involved in anything you're working on?
Or they exist like the,
The road that's existing cabin right now,
no, all of that's gonna be approved.
some of the stuff.
Yeah, no, that's not involved. We're not involved in that. We're like, basically, we're just, anything that abuts our site that's gonna get utilities it's the development and the utilities are gonna come from the north to the south. We're not running anything else to the south. From Hearthstone down,
Okay.
So the sewer flows north.
the sewer flows east. Because,
To the pump station probably.
yeah, it's, the grade kind of, as I mentioned, goes down. And so the sewer laterals right now, I think there's one that Hearthstone, and we're connecting the Hearthstone farther to the south to the end of our subdivision. Everything's gonna go east.
So could you point that out on this map?
This map's weird. Let's go back to I think there might be a utility. Can you go just click a couple of these? Is that the last one?
Touch that one.
No, let's go back to the preliminary plat. That might be easier. So there we go. That one. Yep. Sorry.
There's a delay.
Okay. Yeah, so sewer's going that way to the east. All of the utilities and road work is coming from the north down south. And so right now, the paving and all the work associated with the first phase of Magnolia Meadows, paving line is somewhere up there. That's where, and then they're bringing utilities just south of the paving line. That's where we connect in, and then we'll, once all the utilities in, we'll pave and it'll be improved out here.
Thank you.
Yep.
This is all south of Ferguson.
Yes.
So I'm assuming sidewalks both sides of the street?
Let me double check that.
What's your plan for basic infrastructure such as that? On-street parking versus, individual lots? Are you gonna have, driveways that can hold a car,
Yes, oh yeah.
20 foot plus, or?
So the driveway width max allowable is 24 foot in City of Bend. So a lot of those homes are bigger and they'll have 3-car garages. They'll be that wide and then a garage plus. There's the setback, I think, is 20 feet. So yeah, there's a good amount of space for either people to pull into their garage or kind of pull into the driveway. No plans for parking on Cabin Lane right now because there's quite a few driveways that shoot out onto Cabin. There is a sidewalk on both sides of the street.
Of Cabin Lane as well as the interior part in here.
Yes, okay.
So that'll be a sidewalk and it terminates.
What's the street width in relation to normal standards? Is it like 60 feet? Is this, public easement to public easement?
60-foot right away. Trying to remember here, all the, I think it's a 6-foot sidewalk. And paving is, let me double check. It's what it is, the city standard kind of neighborhood street.
There's just people there have been other developers that have asked for exemptions. Just trying to clarify if you're gonna do that or if you're gonna build.
No, we're not asking for anything smaller than the standard, forgetting the exact term, it's like a neighborhood collector, but Cabin Lane is not gonna be any smaller than.
It's a residential street.
Yeah.
Are any of the trees that are on site gonna survive?
I know trees are a hot topic. We, as I said, we're trying to keep as many. as
You
possible.
have some mature trees on that lot, so
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they're just.
Yeah, so right now, the plan is to keep, there are 25 priority trees. We're keeping, a lot of those trees are along, can we go one more slide? Sorry, maybe back. It's the one that is the plat. There we go. So mid-block. There's a lot of bigger trees right back in here that we're proposing most of those be kept and adjusting grading on the back of the lots to keep those. There's a number of trees that are along the boundary of the property line. And the plan is to keep those and build fence to each side or kind of figure out an arrangement if whatever abutting neighbor is agreeable and doesn't. I mean, some of those trees are dead too. A lot of those trees in the tree inventory, diseased, dead. So a lot of those are being taken out and that's actually, I think that's a good thing for fire safety. But yeah, we tried to kind of design things with, mature trees are a good thing for a neighborhood too. It makes it feel more established. So. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then there's also gonna be, at least, I think it's 40 new trees in addition to kind of street trees and such that are planted on lots. It's almost about a tree a lot.
So what's the average square footage of the homes, but given that they're double, I mean, so like the footprint of the homes?
So we're not the home builder. We just develop the lots, but I think they would probably, I mean, these are bigger lots. And so I think most of the homes will be 2,000 to 2,500 feet. I mean, some of the bigger lots may be a little bit bigger than that, but that's probably the range.
Getting back to trees for a second, so you're gonna try to save as many as you can. Can the developer change that?
Mm.
Do you mean the home builder?
Yes.
No, you gotta get a permit if you're taking down the trees, and so we're we are actually actively working with them on each tree by tree that's in kind of, some of the grading makes it, you know, you can't keep the tree if you're grading multiple feet below it, and so those obviously have to go, but any of the ones that are in question are kind of within close proximity to being saved, we actually had a walk a couple weeks ago, you know, going tree by tree and saying, okay, like, let's try to keep this, how would we have to do that? The root protection zone is really large and can be a challenge to work around, so how would we do that? And so, yeah, we're actively working with the home builder to try to keep those trees that are on the fence there, kind of whether or not they could potentially make it.
Who is the home builder?
I can't say at this point, it's kind of, we haven't closed with them, and yeah, so it's,
Marquee. You guys, you're the builders, right? You're the developers?
we're the land.
Okay, you're the land,
developer, so
okay.
Mocker is the name of it.
Rumors is Hayden Homes, but don't, James.
I don't do that, so.
They're in the vicinity already, so.
Are there any questions? We've sort of been blurred them out. Anybody online, raise your hand. Ross will respond to you. If anybody here, raise your hand and.
Yeah, Carl, hey, what's the schedule for, starting to cut ground?
Yeah, so at this point, we are hoping to break ground mid-August, early September. Yeah.
And then until they start constructing houses, what do you think your process is?
I think there's a lot of grading because of everything on site. Home construction will start sometime early next year. And then there'll be probably a model home that kind of goes up first, and then I'd say they probably start delivering homes summer next year.
So are you guys completely done and out before they start building, or are you kind of in conjunction?
So yeah, basically we develop the lots, put in the utilities, and then we sell the lots to the home builder. But that's the benefit of having them involved so early, is that we can have these conversations about trees that are in between lots or on the backside of lots and why they should be kept, opposed to like just guessing and then, maybe they do want to take them out.
Is blasting done?
Blasting will likely be part, especially for the utilities, as they continue. So yeah, blasting will be handled by our contractor. I'm sure they have a blasting subcontractor that'll send out all the blasting notices. They often come around, take photos of the house, make sure that, there's no damage or anything done. But yeah, there's a lot of rock to be moved, and so
Still.
okay,
no, just
a lot.
we're keeping up to the timetable here.
So
Yeah.
can you speak to, obviously, with these developments, a lot of heavy equipment, a lot of trucks,
Yep.
stuff. The ingress, egress, what is are you gonna head strips? You can go Gavin both ways, you can go Hearthstone, you can have Magnolia. How are you gonna access either Knott or Ferguson if you're gonna take material in and out of the site?
Good question. So our contractor is actually the same as the contractor across the street, Latham Excavation. And they're local in town, and I imagine we haven't kind of got to that detail yet. We just have the construction entrances on our site. But I can follow up and ask them.
I think it's useful to know because a lot of the existing infrastructure there are on old county level roads, and they aren't gonna wear well with the type of things that are taking place on Magnolia and Hearthstone, which of course are getting replaced. But the existing section of the cabin, that doesn't look like we'll have any, I can't really tell because you're saying the utilities are coming from the north, which should be from the existing part of the cabin, but I don't think you're gonna open that up. You're just gonna catch on the end of it and extend it further south.
Yeah, so there are utilities that have been installed with phase one of Magnolia Meadows. So those are coming from the north. And so we're.
That's on Magnolia. That's on Magnolia. That's not on cabin.
Yeah, on cabin, the utilities have kind of come down and they're on that north section of cabin.
We can speak to that. So they've come across Hearthstone to the intersection of Hearthstone and Cabin.
Right.
Now, what he's talking about
It's connecting
is,
there.
yeah, going south from Cabot, so.
South-
East-
Little section.
South of Park.
But, yeah, but you were asking about the section north of Cabot.
Yeah, between the
Yes, they haven't run out. They did upgrade the electrical last year,
Right,
but, and now.
well, that's what I'm referencing, if it's gonna have heavy truck traffic going through that neighborhood, it's not gonna bear up well. If it's direct down the newer city grade roads, that would be Hearthstone and Magnolia, Cabin to the south. Then maybe it would be better, but those trucks are gonna have to get out to presumably Ferguson or not to get to wherever their sites are gonna be.
I'd super appreciate it if you could divide it up in the neighborhood, like half of the project comes with it. Half the other. That would be so.
It's drive everybody crazy.
Over there?
Yeah, could you put a slide up that shows the transportation network? You have one, I thought I saw one that you
Yeah.
kind of flipped by real fast.
It's in the supplemental slides there.
Because I'm curious, once the development's built, is the only way in and out gonna be back on the Ferguson? Or is there gonna be like a southerly connection onto Dot at some point?
Well, Cabin will extend all the way to not,
Okay, yeah, I'm not real familiar with the.
Cabin will direct that to not.
Hang on,
Eventually.
we're catching up here. Give us a sec.
Sure.
Yeah, so a lot of this is already part of the, there you go,
Oh, okay, thanks.
Southeast area street framework. So
Jesus.
there it is.
Sugar finger.
And you're the red in the middle?
We are the red in the middle.
Okay, yeah, that really helps, thanks.
Hearthstone will also head further east to connect to.
Okay, so that's the Caldera Circle. Oh my goodness. Okay,
You talking about this here?
no,
No.
down the next one down.
Oh, that's the, okay, gotcha.
Can we post these to our website afterwards?
Sure, these are all public documents.
Okay.
So yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, it's just like, hey, yeah.
It's kind of old, it has the future high school there.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, to that point, the Southeast area plan has been in conversation and
Yeah.
planned
A
by the
decade,
city
yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of plugging into that framework.
So what we see, those buildings that are framed already, are they over here?
Yeah.
And whose
They're just
development
off
is that?
Ferguson,
They're like right in
see
there.
the cursor?
So what development is that?
Yeah, they're calling it now.
One?
I don't know.
It's Lennar, it's a big national building.
I don't know what the call.
Okay, I mean, there's isn't that, so I'm assuming they're all town. I was just trying to get my.
Doing the one on Wilson and 15th as well?
No, that's Pence.
I think Lennar has some in,
Are they,
Stevens Ranch.
Yes.
and aren't they gonna do Orange Turning Hat?
Yeah.
We live on Magnolia Lane. We haven't had a road for a year.
Yeah.
This stuff is right across the street from us, what's happening with Lennar, and that's part of why we're here. Like, I'm interested in what you guys are doing. But we feel like Lennar is a black hole. There's no information. And we don't know what's happening. Like, it's our front yard. And how do we find out more?
What we can do, the Old Farm Board can do is I'll reach out to our land use chair who's currently not here.
Would love that.
And Karen, we can have her investigate what's going on, and if not, reach out to the developer.
Okay.
This is extremely rare that a developer is
Yeah.
even wanting to do this.
Love.
We're hoping to encourage this, and if you're talking to your buddies to the neighborhood, you're like, hey, it's not that.
Old farm district, they're a nice crew.
Yeah. If you want, we provide food and drinks, we can do that.
I
So,
mean, we've been watching, like, is that what you call them, like the black? Dig ditches, fill ditches, dig them up again, fill them up again, dig them again. Just right across the street from our house for a year. And it's just unbelievable. Yeah.
so, I did warn Tammy, I'm like, people are gonna have questions about things that have nothing to do with the
But
project.
along that
But-
lines, if you're talking about your egress is gonna be the new roads that are built on Magnolia and Hearthstone, that'll be up to code. And then you're gonna start driving your equipment on them.
I guess, do you know, how are you working in conjunction with some of these other developers' timelines? I mean,
Yeah, so that's actually, I will follow up on the egress, because I honestly just don't know
Yeah,
what their pathway is.
That's fair.
But in terms of, paving across the street, they have, I think, 5 phases, and 1 through 3 abut our site, the red dot or square there. And so they just finished phase 1. And I believe they have permits, construction permits for phase 2. The land use where they kind of subdivide all the big parcel into the individual lots, that's all been approved, so now they're kind of going phase by phase. And, putting all the utilities and kind of, all the infrastructure in. So yeah, they just finished phase 1, like in the last month. And so that's, maybe we're miscommunicating, but that's why I know that the top part of Cabin at Hearthstone and Cabin is in. Because we've been working in conjunction with them, because we're sharing utilities in Cabin.
Yeah, and that's why I'm mostly understanding that now. If you take it down to the top of cabin extends another, whatever it is,
Yeah, kind of
up to
over,
TSM.
yeah, in my mind, in our.
Yeah, right, no, I get it.
Sorry, I got confused.
Oh, I think.
Did your question get answered? Or you have another one?
I'm just wanna be, in the picture.
So, yeah, so before you leave tonight, make sure we have your contact information.
Yeah.
And if anybody or any of your neighbors have questions, we will do our best to try to get the answers, or the worst case scenario, we can connect you with somebody that may know.
Yeah.
But we do get a lot of we don't knows, and the reason why is he doesn't know because they don't know and they don't know.
Yeah.
And everybody's waiting on something to happen before people can start truly giving definitives, and that sucks. I understand that. But we all do, but that is what's, as I was telling them, I think we've got 12 or 13 simultaneous master plans going on. City of Bend in the old farm, City of Bend is not seeing any of this massive level of separated things. When they did the west side, when they did that was Brooks Resources, I mean, it was, one big, a true master plan being like guided from a top.
Yeah.
We're seeing something entirely different in our quadrant right now.
I would also say that too, that if you can provide an application number or any information at all that I can dig into, I can publish that on the website. I've got a whole section built for Southeast area development. I'll be adding the Cabin Lane stuff to that. So if you can give me any information at all, I'll dive in there and make it easy to digest.
Totally, I mean, feel free to share the the preliminary plat. That's probably the easiest thing. That's why I keep going back to that as a visual, because it shows you where the lots will be and future roads and that one. So you can go ahead and post that.
Yeah, I absolutely will. I was referring to the other guest who was asking for more information about the other development.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Question?
I have a question about building permits and the homes that are gonna go there. So number one, can the home builder apply for building permits now? What's their timing? Because I know the building permits take a while, so I'm just trying to figure out as a follow-up question to your timing as to when houses are gonna go in, when they can apply for their building permits. And then my other question is, you mentioned model homes. So is this a builder that's gonna be putting in like, choose one of these 3 homes and they're all gonna be the same? Or are they gonna be unique? What do you know about that?
Yeah, so the plan is to only build 1 model home. And in terms of building permits, City of Bend actually, I know that there's oh my gosh, this growth in all these master plans. But like the City of Bend has been very proactive in responding to the housing crisis statewide and also locally. So the general idea of that whole approach is that supply brings down costs and there's more housing for everybody. And so the City of Bend has a number of pathways for getting sign-offs on your infrastructure permits to allow you to apply for building permits as certain things are maybe lingering, like paving. We can't pave in December. We're probably gonna try to get sign-off at some point so that building permits can be applied for. So the short answer is, I don't really know what the current duration is for building permit. A single family home, I mean, probably 1 to 3 months. That's kind of what I've been told. Again, we developed the lots. I'm not as familiar with the homes. But I think for the model home, that will probably go in early. And then also based on the different pathways, and kind of bonding for certain work that can't happen during the winter. You know, we'll get sign off and bond for a certain portion. Once we get sign off, the plat can be recorded, their lots created. Once the lots are created, then they can start to apply for a building permit for a lot.
And the city about a year or two ago hired a specific staff member to work with the home builders of a certain size and above to fast track, I guess.
Will we know who that builder, I mean, can they, I guess I'm trying to figure out when we're gonna be able to find out who that is. Will they be able to apply, as soon as they apply for permits, and you start to look that up and.
Yeah, totally.
Well, you put up a big billboard that says new homes by.
Yeah, and
Wow.
that'll be them. Yeah,
Any other questions? Anybody on the line?
The northern border of that property having interface with properties to the north of it? Or will it be separate?
sorry.
So your northern border,
One property that I was talking about. Completely unaffiliated.
no, I'm just asking about, is there any like connectivity between the two properties, or is your northern perimeter going to be fence line?
Yeah.
So all the egress will be to the east on the cabin?
Is the city gonna require, streetlights in your property?
I don't, I honestly don't know. I need to take a look. I don't think there are streetlights. Let me see, I'll check this. I know that, I mean, Bend is very strict about the dark sky requirement. And so if they're there, they're very, they'd be compliant and limited by those code standards.
Most of the neighbors that I talked to are very outspoken that you want streetlights.
One,
Streetlights?
don't.
No.
I don't think it's a code requirement. I think it's sometimes they do it at intersections that it's clearly it's up to the developer. And since we're not really looking at any intersections except for Long Cabin, then what's the disconnect to going to your south?
That's the subdivision to the south that's currently hasn't applied, but isn't necessarily. I don't think there's any progress. So I don't know when they're actually gonna build.
You affiliated with them in any way?
Not at all. So, but since they've applied and their application has been reviewed, we are required to align our streets so that any kind of future development could connect.
Do you know when your laterals are going in? There's the word at the time on
Well, it would. I honestly don't know. I don't know the contractor, like their sequence of when their main and cabin. I don't know when they would be doing that work. I know sewer goes first, 'cause it's the deepest. But yeah, I don't have like a month. Like,
You know, it's a field that's really close with no sewer and often. Really close. Like, come on, 100 feet from them.
the tough thing with sewer is often the running it to the main. And at this point, I think the sewer that we're putting in is either abutted by Hayden Homes and their development, or it just is our site. So we can't necessarily like tap into the sewer that we're not permitted to do and like put laterals in other places. We can only do laterals off of the main that we're installing. And so that area is just bounded by Hayden Homes and us.
Couple more, 1 or 2 more minutes. Any other questions? We have a captive audience. No, anyone online? Well, Jamie, that's it. I mean, you have anything else you want to say, add?
No, I thank you for not raking me over the coals.
We haven't left yet.
You can say bad things after I leave. But no, I really am open and happy to share kind of whatever, none of this is meant to be a mystery. And I think that's the importance and, the public process and the city kind of posting this stuff online. I know it's really tough to sometimes access it online. And so that's partly why we were wanting to come in and just kind of show you what we're planning to do and, there's no, it's not a black box. There's, you know, we're trying to be pretty straightforward and upfront about
So you're saying, you can break ground there, this fall?
Yep, August, September.
Alrighty,
Well, I want to just like, thank you.
Yeah.
For coming.
Yeah.
I know you didn't have to do it, but we get a lot of questions that people who live in the area are very interested.
Yeah.
They've lived in this part of town that has kind of been separate from a lot of things for a long time. This is a big change, so, when you have conversations with your eventual builder, we would appreciate it if you would ask them to continue the communication and the dialogue, because I think that will go a long way for that. In the community, because sometimes people, you won't name names, don't follow that path, it creates a lot of conflict.
Totally, and that's not our style, and I will push strongly for them. I wish I could share, but until everything's closed and done, you know, it's just, we can't do that, but, I will for sure try to connect them and say, hey.
Especially with people that are ordering right online. You asked them if I knew ahead of time.
alrighty.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question.
Okay.
I don't know if they caught it or not. Is Dean Fuller's last name in the building? Are they gonna be the ones that, are they part of you for, estimating law?
So were they part of the Magnolia Meadows?
Yes.
Okay, so they're likely to be that's a subcontractor of our contractor. So I don't have any knowledge or connection to them. Was that a good experience or bad?
Oh, no, I'm supposed to go to every hall owner
Yeah.
3 times. A lot of people out on camera, not. I think it's just the city. Yes, pre and post pictures, it's post damage. They send it to 8 homes. They send it to the city and say, fix yourself. A lot of people are elderly. A lot of people have sons or daughters that are gonna help them this summer. That's a lot of damage. Probably not the same.
No,
You could mention the way on their.
yeah, they care about it. They're posting, we're posting.
I'm back.
Relay that. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Yeah.
Are those public documents, are they available on like the planning portal site?
Yeah, like the Southeast area plan and other things, those are Google those.
Okay.
Or do you have to go straight to the city?
All right, cool.
We just got this real.
So I've got a couple other things, as part of this meeting, does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask the board or comments about how this presentation went or what you would like to see us possibly in the future? I guess like a summary of what did you guys think of having somebody from a developer come in and talk?
My first question is, how did you get it?
That's awesome.
Because you and I both know, we've been to some other contractors' presentations and they were basically fluff. This guy said here and was very genuine, so one, just want to say thanks for getting here and keep doing it.
We're gonna try, and when I was talking with him at the beginning, I said, hey, I know you're working with all of these people next to you, like these other projects. Tell them it's not a bad thing to come down and talk to us. Because it's communication should hopefully alleviate a lot of people's concerns, whether it's traffic or it's infrastructure or just the general feel for the neighborhood. I mean, we know it's all gonna happen. I mean, it is happening. If you live over there, you know better than anybody, it's happening. The blasting, the bulldozers, it's been happening for a year plus.
What?
And it's not gonna stop. Therefore, we're looking at a place between Southeast Area Plan, Stevens Ranch, Stevens Tract, a minimum of 10 years of this consistency.
5,500 houses, right?
Minimum, I would say doors, that could increase.
What was the number?
5,500. They just 2 weeks ago announced the new middle housing requirements. And just so you know, there is no minimum lot size. So he was talking about their average lot is 7,800 square feet.
You did say a minimum.
He said their average was 7,800.
I'm sorry.
And the city is now basically removed minimums.
For residential standard.
Yeah, so for infill middle housing, the presentation that Brian and I sat through about 2 weeks ago. We will have that, we'll put it on our website that the city's putting together, and they're slowly gonna be releasing speaking. But if you have like an eighth of an acre lot, you can now put 6
Whoa,
dwellings on it. And as long as, so you can put 4 dwellings on it, and if one of them is affordable housing designation or accessible housing designation, you can put 2 more on. Sidewalks are no longer required for middle housing, infill. ADA access isn't required.
So what you're saying is this could be a lot worse.
I'm just saying, from what he just described versus what is
Right.
going to, what is now being allowed. These are gonna be big lots.
Can you speak to how much of all of this is being driven by our local Bend political group versus say?
I'd say they're lockstep, that's my personal opinion. Our Anthony Broadman is our state representative, he was on the city council. They talk. Our city leaders and Salem talk on a regular basis, they just don't always include everybody else. Once again, that's my personal opinion.
Okay, so you're saying they're all
So-
basically operating as one of the
Most
same.
of what you're seeing is coming from state. And the
Well,
city,
that's what I
the
thought.
city is implementing.
But
Could the city fight it?
well, if they wanted to, but they're not wanting to, and just so you know, what is occurring in Bend is happening across the nation. It's happening in blue states, it's happening in red states, it's happening in blue cities, it's happening in red cities. The answer to America's housing crisis has been determined density and the removal of all restrictions. That is, there's all sorts of ideology and groups that are pushing it, and there is no general one group behind it. But the feds, they just passed a bipartisan housing bill that the president didn't sign, but it still went into effect. And essentially, if local governments want federal money, they have to allow anything. So when it comes to money, I mean, everybody in here is a taxpayer. There's not a government that doesn't want, I don't want to say free government money, because that's just not, it's not free, it's our money. But it's, if, you know, the cities want it, whether it's for infrastructure or whatever, then you basically have to allow all of this. And I've been watching development across the nation, and if you look at what cities, middle housing is a big priority, housing shortages are an issue, housing prices continue to go up, and in the few states where the housing prices are going down, that's because their economies are crashing. It's not because the supply is not overwhelmed their demand, it's they're having other economic issues. Once again, that's my personal take. Any other board members would like to chime in, but
My name is Frank.
hi, Frank.
I have 2 questions, and I'm not sure that this is the right time to ask them, but since I got them, I'm just gonna say them, and you can tell me when to ask them. One of them is, do you guys have any sense of when the construction of the townhouses at the Ferguson end of Magnolia is likely to happen?
Soon. They've been in the works for 4 years.
Right.
So once again, this is where a developer and everybody submits their plans, and it can take up to 10 years for them to happen. But ultimately, it comes down to each individual developer's financial situations.
So is this the same developer that's doing the apartments right now that are going up?
No,
Different,
different.
right?
Literally, when we were looking at that map, we were talking about each one of those, every single one of those is a different land developer and a different builder. And for a large portion of the southeast area plan, like Copperwood, which is the area directly south of where we're talking about, that in itself is an entirely different developer, but they're putting in a massive amount of infrastructure there.
So soon maybe means this year.
until, I encourage everybody, so the answer is nobody knows until Bob the Builder starts to pay for things. But the plans have been submitted. I mean, we know what they're supposed to look like. We know what the general plan is. That's all been submitted to the city already.
And that's on your website, right?
Are from 2021, and now there's a new developer. Are there new plans now?
So if there's a plan submitted to the city, they're still valid. If a new developer comes in, what happens is they just can buy the project and just start doing addendums. And they don't have to go through the planning process from zero. They can literally take it from wherever it's at, and historically, that's been a problem for people, for us, the board, everybody, because you don't know, everyone's told
You know
this,
what it's gonna be.
and then there are no public comment periods after the major plans are accepted.
Yeah.
Unless there is a major change to the plan that triggers some weird thing at the planning department.
But you can still see them online, right? I mean.
You can see them online, but even, so there's a good example is off of 15th Street, north of Murphy. That one development across from Alpenglow Park. Fourth name in 2 years?
Yeah, what is the name now?
Well, it was the North 45, it was the Union,
Now it's called something else.
so I mean, like, every single time that happens. It could be as simple as the builder changes, but the infrastructure land owner stays the same. So like. All we can do is when we get the stuff, we put it on the website, and if something hasn't changed in 3 or 4 years. That means it hasn't changed in 3 or 4 years, and it's still technically valid. And we've run into situations where people didn't know that things have already been submitted, like by Silver Rail. Some of the early developers submitted things. And then all these other people built around them and didn't know that their plans for the big vacant lots were already determined. So people bought, thinking one thing, not realizing that the developments had already been approved and just waiting for development.
So I got this second question, okay, which is this, which is very small, even smaller than that one. But I think that it is connected to a larger issue of the relationship between the builders and developers and the people who already live in the area. So here's my little thing, is that somebody in the course of excavating down at the end of Magnolia broke into the power supply to TDS's node there. The thing that runs the internet. And as a result of that.
Not today.
No, this
No,
was
it's been
months
months
ago.
ago.
Okay, I happened to
Today.
get a TDS guy today to talk to me. And there's been a generator running across the street from my house, spewing out exhaust and noise 24/7 for months. And I just kind of like to know, who can I talk to about this? It seems like a really inefficient thing. If there's gonna be an electric line there, it seems like somebody is responsible for it and they put it in.
No,
I don't know, usually it's good to get the project. Manager.
well, yeah, but, well, let us confer here for a second. So we have a couple of people saying that we work with, and depending on the issue, we're trying to figure out which department might be best to get you there. So I'm thinking we start really general and go with Renee, and then let her filter it to whoever.
I think we could find that out, I think the project manager is the right person, because that's the person who's supposed to be out there supervising it. And I know exactly what you're talking about, I know the generator every time I walk by.
It stinks.
Yeah, so then, Brian, I'm gonna let you figure this one out,
Yeah.
and if you wanna get their information, follow up.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do it because I walk all that every day and I see nonsense and they put up Magnolia closed thing and they just has this on like legs with the stanchions and they put this heavy thing on it. They stuck it halfway across the sidewalk. I go, so anyone, myself included, could trip and break their neck on it. I have some really cool pictures, like when you put more on, thought this was a good idea, and I'm looking to see. That's the same person you want to talk to. So.
Yeah, and I've had plenty of very pleasant conversations with people working as various contractors, but nobody really knows whose responsibility this is.
A whole lot of this.
I mean, all of this is the TDS comes and orders some more fuel and things.
Well, the city has a project supervisor for, whether they get to the site frequently enough is another question. And the rear, as James pointed out, and we're all well aware, they're building at a pace they can't possibly keep up with. So supervision, in my opinion, is best when you call. So we have a drainage problem in front of my neighborhood as a result of the sewer line down Ferguson. They come in and put a new road. Did anybody check the drainage on it? No. So what, they couldn't do sidewalks, do ADA ramps? Guess what we call Lake Bonnie is?
No.
It's sitting right on top of the they put in, because it's the lowest point. And so I finally got David Abbas and he brought somebody out right away and they measured. You can go see all the measurements, they're still painted on the concrete there. And I said, David, so I'm really gonna be interested to know what your engineers come up with here. And you know what he said? He said, me too. Because he doesn't know how to fix it, because they're moving so fast, because anything that they do, there's no drain there, it's gonna pour all the water into my neighborhood, which of course the city can do. So they're, and I'm like, I will be on it, like, it's gonna, before it rains done.
So on Brian's,
You have to be noisy.
on Brian's comment, there actually is action from the city staff when it's complaint driven. I know that sucks. But so that means if you do have an issue, if something is concerning, you have to, I mean, we can help you navigate the website. But it really helps if Frank sends in the request, because if it's the same people from the board all the time, we sort of get put into a queue. But if you say, we were talking with the old farm board and they said this, then I promise you, they will get to you and they are working. Because a lot, they just don't know. The city staff is, I mean, beyond overwhelmed, especially when it comes to development.
Yeah, there's a lot, and we have on our website, the city resources for the code enforcement and things like that. Sometimes what we're talking about is code enforcement, but they are responsive. They're really trying hard. It's a little bit of a game of whack-a-mole.
Yeah, so on our website,
You don't know about it, they don't hear from you.
on our website, under resources there at the top there, if you submitted a request to BendWorks, that might be a good spot to start.
And worst case scenario, it might not be the right spot, but hopefully they'll forward it to the right.
Actually, that's what they're supposed to do, because they know. And that they have gotten much better in the last year or so, where they've heard us complaining a lot. And so they're like, okay, that's not the right place, but we'll send it to the right person. And then you might get a response saying, I'm not the right person, but I'm sending it to this department address. So should be back in touch with you. And what we have found is that they don't, we can go back and say, but, and then that's not okay. That will happen fast, and it does. So speak up, you know, and that the game's changing really quickly, right underneath your feet, so you just have to stay involved and engaged, and the city's trying, they are.
And just real quick, are we gonna give a little bit of the neighborhood, like stores and restaurants and coffee shops? Or is the church that was bought during all that property kind of wash that out?
No, I'll chat with,
Okay.
here's what I want to do. I want to wrap up this meeting. We've got a couple of things to tell everybody here. And then we can still chat. That's a great question. Anybody can stay, but I don't want to run the live stream for too long. Very quickly, we started a new fiscal year. We're going to be meeting in this room for the next 12 months. We're going to continue to do hybrid meetings. So it's 6:30, second Monday of every month in this room. You're welcome to come, no matter what the topic is. The land use discussions are only going to continue to increase. In the last 2 weeks, I think we've done 3 or 4 major postings to social media regarding Stevens Ranch. There's going to be annexations on a continual basis. To keep up with it is going to be massive. We need everybody's help to just talk about it and share what's going on. go on social media, interact there. Just be polite. Don't yell at somebody unless you know they're really the ones responsible for doing the evil thing. And then you should yell at them anyway. But so on that note, we are in a bit of a bind. We found out a few months ago that we have lost our liability insurance as directors and officers. The city sort of put it on us. So we, at this point, we do not have a general meeting planned. Our board are volunteers, but right now we are technically can be held liable if somebody wants to sue our board. And we're just trying to be good citizens, we're your neighbors. So we're gonna be a little bit cautious about how we proceed forward because it's really not fair for us who are just trying to communicate things to be good citizens to be on the hook. So that's something you should share with your neighbors, like, wait a minute, why are nonprofit and volunteer organizations not being supported more by the city?
And you quantify that a bit. There are 13 neighborhood districts in the city of which we are one. 2 have insurance. The other 11 are like us, which basically means you're paralyzed.
And we can't find it. We're trying to find it.
Can't do anything because each and every one of us would be individually responsible. And I have a law to that.
What question was the city supporting insurance for you before?
So the city, essentially, something very bizarre happened. For years, we had an insurance plan and we've been renewing it. Well, legal department of either the insurance company or the city started to truly look at it and said, well, they really aren't covered. But we had been covered because we had to use them in the past. There's not a polite term for what's going on right now. At all. On that note, we have active positions that are available on the board. Sold that. So, if you don't want to be on the board, but you do want to assist us, we also are open towards just volunteers on doing some things, but we're not going to be doing the street cleanup until we can get insurance. If somebody got injured, doing the street cleanup, that would, the board would be liable. So this is a really bizarre position we're in.
Why do 2 associations have insurance? 2 of their 13.
Because they signed up and after they did, the brokers that approved them have decided to not approve anymore. And actually, we had a little bit of an issue because we took a political stance regarding the commercial development and the affordable housing, and the insurance company denied us for supposedly taking a political stance. And all we did was tell people what happened. We didn't really take a political stance, we just informed the public.
Yeah, we actually, I'll take the blame for that because I wrote it. But we basically gave ourselves a little pat on the back on our website to be on this board, really helped stir the conversations by the passage of House Bill 4037, which helped sort of turn the tide on the taking of the commercial property of Easton. And the underwriter looked at that and said, oh, no. They want 0 risk. There's not enough money in it for them to be bothered. And if you do anything other than vanilla, they just said no.
So on that note, anybody online, please send us anything by way of email. If you got any requests, we're gonna log off the live stream. Ross, if you wouldn't mind stopping that.